And to discuss this in details, we have Professor Ayede, a political analyst and the former head of Department University of Ibadan. He joins us live from Ibadan to speak on the political crisis in Gabon. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. Oh, okay. I hope you can hear my audio feed because I cannot hear yours. But if you can, just as the ECOWAS and African Union are battling, with Niger Coup, the military forces in Gabon today took over government. As a political observer, what do you think is really happening in Africa?
Yeah, I think democracy is in trouble. We are experiencing a crisis of democracy in West Africa, especially, and now it's going to extend apparently beyond West Africa. As you know, Africa became part of the third wave of democracy that spread around the world, reaching Africa in the 1990s. And there was a great celebration and a sigh of relief from the heydays of dictators who had dominated the continent right from the 60s when many countries became independent. But of course, as the years wore on, not only did they fail to grow the economy or extend prosperity to every African, things got worse, not just economically also, but also security-wise. As we speak now, the major reasons why many of these soldiers claim to have taken over is attributed to their security situations across the countries of the Sahel, which accounted for the coup in Mali, in Niger, in Guinea, in Chad, and the few other places. But what is happening in Gabon is what we call the contagion effect, that they've seen this thing happen around them and they thought that it's time for them to take the bull by the horn. Because as you know, Ali Bongo himself ruled the country for 41 years and handed over the baton to his son. And through those close to 56 years of the reign of this Ali Bongo dynasty, the country has wallowed in oil money, but the money has not, trickled down to ordinary Gabonese. And you have a situation where poverty continues to hold ordinary people in vice grip, and then you have a few elite around the family of Ali Bongo living in debauchery. So it's only a matter of time that when the young military officers become fed up of what's going on, that they will strike. Now, this is very bad for democracy, and it's also bad for African citizens because there's no guarantee that the military will do better than the civilian that's taking place. The only thing, or the only ray of hope, is that the disruption of the dynastic process in Gabon might be replaced by probably a better democratic process, in the sense that if ECOWAS is able to manage a transition, they might have elections that's better than what we have now, because Ali Bongo Ndema is actually going for a third term. In other words, he has manipulated the constitution and abolished term limits, and he was going to continue to rule like his father forever. This just points to the fact that we claim to desire democracy for West Africa, and we have all of these fine principles about good governance, democratic governance, rejection of unconstitutional takeover of government, and so on and so forth. But those who are already in power through the ballot box do not respect the rule of law. They have not behaved as democrats, and the people do not come into the picture when it comes to expending the resources of the country. And that's largely account for the opportunism that the militaries have taken across these countries. It's not as if the military group have the answers to the problems. They have only come to complicate matters. But we hope that ECOWAS will be able to broker peaceful transition and return to democratic governance. And the close monitoring of ECOWAS and realizing the challenges that going the way of autocracy in the name of democracy will not make them popular. Because rather than have people in the street rising against the military, you have seen people in the streets of Gabon singing the national anthem and celebrating the takeover of government. I think that is the lesson for those who are in government today, that electoral malpractices, abuse of the electoral process, abuse of power, disregard for human rights, winning election by force and saying go to court, will not promote democracy. They must begin to demonstrate that they are true democrats by cultivating the qualities of democracy, such
Okay,
as free and fair
thank you
elections,
very much for
putting the
joining us on the news at this time.
and recognizing that they are.
All right, thank you very much for joining us at this time. That was Professor Remi Ayede, political analyst and a former head of department, University of Ibadan.